Hello, I'm Jonathan Ogle. Do you like art? Do you like music? Do you like videos? Well, stay tuned. We'll have it all on our next edition of Spectrum of the Arts. Welcome to Spectrum of the Arts. The 2015-16 school year is winding down, and with that comes a plethora of events celebrating the accomplishments of many Pinellas County School students. It is a long list of events, far too long to discuss here, but there are a few that we would like to highlight in this edition of Spectrum. The annual Walker's Rising Stars show was another big hit at the Mahaffey Theater in early May. Operating under a new format, the program included student performances in dance, theater, instrumental and vocal music, and culinary and visual arts. Preliminary auditions were held in October 2015. Semifinal competition was staged in February of this year, the result being the selection of 4 finalists in each category to advance to the final live performance round of competition at the Mahaffey. Included among those competing for scholarship money were students participating in the area of visual arts.
My favorite piece that I've created is probably my oil painting, My Youth Is Yours. And I really like reaction when I see people looking at my stuff. So to watch someone look at the painting and they see kind of like the pain in the eyes of the person in the painting, and they see the tears and they want to wipe away the tears, and then they see the title of the piece, then they just know that something is there. Like, art is my way to speak. My motivation would probably have to be everyone's reactions. And whatever I do, whether it be special effects makeup, painting, sculpture, cake decoration, makeup for weddings, or seeing something on stage that I've done and have the audience gasp, like that's what really keeps me going. When people view my artwork, I want them to see what I'm thinking and or feeling or what someone else has felt. Like, I want there to be emotion in that. So it's more for them and the reaction is for me.
Her strength is her interest in people. She likes to portray the expressions and the feelings, and I would go a little further and say she likes to portray the person's soul. So when you see the video, you see how she really captures the emotions.
Art isn't supposed to be pretty all the time, it's supposed to make you feel something, so I try to get that across in my work.
I guess the thing that motivates my art is probably the environment I live in. My parents are very artistic. My dad was a musician, my mom was an artist, and my sister's a singer. And my whole house is covered in artwork and stuff, so just being in that environment, it makes me constantly think about new ideas for art. My artwork's kind of like a message to people, because a lot of it was about the end of the world and ruins and war and stuff, because in these pieces it was basically about humans surpassing their abilities and kind of destroying themselves. And I kind of want people to think before you throw something away, or think about who you're picking fights with and stuff. So yeah, I looked at a lot of the architecture from art history and stuff, so it's kind of in my head constantly. And there's just something about the old architecture, all the new contemporary stuff now is cool, but it's a box. So I like look at the shingles and all the cracks and the stone and everything. It's just more interesting and has more texture and life.
His work has so much what we like to call personal voice that comes through. There's an originality to it, that it's all handcrafted, and really his work ethic. And that has just increased over the time that he's spent here at PCCA, to the point now where these pieces are so complex, and yet he's able to finish them in a week oftentimes. He has his technique down like I'm not sure someone else could do it. The only way you can see this is if Zach does it. It's his own, he's owning it, and they're beautiful works.
I think what does motivate me though is feeling that I can accomplish something and that I could keep working. I don't want to be sedentary. I think that's what drives me the most, working and being worth something.
Moses is a wonderful student. He's one of those kids where you just never have to worry about him. He comes in, he's always polite, he's always pleasant, he always works. The verve that he has in his pieces is wonderful. And I do think that Moses is the kind of kid who brings up the quality of an entire class, because his energy that he brings, other students and even faculty feed off of it.
My favorite piece is called My Pride, and it's 3 figures, and the piece itself is about my fear of being too prideful, or rather too vain, and getting too self-confident, and because it's a sin. But I also have to understand that it's okay to be confident in yourself. What I want people to see when they walk away from my art is what's going on in my mind, my perspective of things. The viewer is just looking at your work for a fleeting moment. And so what I want people to take away with them when they do see my arc is like an idea of just really generally what's going on within me, because ultimately through my art I like to express what's going on in my head.
I think art has been something that has always beckoned to me, and I don't think it'll ever stop calling for me. My favorite piece I've created is probably my most recent one, which is of my sister, and it's a portrait, probably because of all the technicalities that went into it, and I really like doing portraits, and it was an opportunity for me really to explore that and develop my style in portraits. My sister really inspires me. She's always been so supportive of me, like no matter what I do. Like I'll tell her to like pose for this or do something, and she's always there for me to like do stuff for me. And she's probably my biggest influence in my life.
Jennifer is an amazing student. She just is so dedicated, and she has an incredible work ethic. She's really driven. She is not afraid to accept any challenge that I throw at her, and I throw quite a few challenges at her. I enjoy giving her challenges because I'm always excited to see what she's going to come up with and how she's going to solve that visual problem.
I use digital because, well, one, it's very different, and I like to challenge myself, and when I first started doing digital, I obviously wasn't very good, but I find a lot more pleasure in it than doing traditional because there's so many different tools and facets to it that you can just completely explode creativity and do so many things with it. I'm really passionate about the fact that art is something that is not subjective, and I can do basically anything with it.
The Emmas brought out large crowds and an impressive number of videos produced by Pinellas County school students on all grade levels. We'll have that story and more when we return with Spectrum of the Arts.